The wait is finally over. After what seemed like an agonizing few months, we now have our first official look at Sonic 3, and it does not disappoint. I've combed through this trailer so that we can break it down together and get some insight as to where this is heading. But before we get any further, hit the like button and subscribe for more Sonic news and lore. Alright, so our trailer starts off with Tom telling Sonic that he finally found his family, and we see a few brief shots of Tails and Knuckles. It seems like they might be in London here, and later we see them in Tokyo, so it seems like Sonic and his friends are going to be traveling all over the world in this adventure. We also see Knuckles use his flame fists, which we first saw in the Knuckles show. Tom finds a picture Sonic drew of himself in Longclaw on his homeworld, and Tom gives Sonic a heart-to-heart moment here. I'm interested to see how much of a role Tom and Maddie will play in this movie. Tom has been a really good role model and father figure for Sonic in the prior two films, and with this movie having a bit of a darker tone, I do wonder if Tom will fill an Uncle Ben role here. We then get a shot of a prison facility out at sea where Gun is holding Shadow. Somehow, Shadow's able to break out, but we're not quite sure how just yet, so someone might be working behind the scenes to help him, and I'll get into that a bit later. Knowing the severity of the situation, Commander Olive Garden calls in Team Sonic to deal with the new threat that's been unleashed. Here, Sonic and his friends come in on a helicopter after using a ring portal. We then see some shots of Gun soldiers lining up to deal with Shadow as he breaks free from his cryo cell. But man, look at how cool Shadow looks here. His model is so well detailed and he truly looks menacing. We also see that as soon as he's free from his chamber, he uses Chaos Control instantly, most likely leaping into battle. Now, you might be wondering how Shadow is doing this without the use of any Chaos Emeralds, and this plays off the idea that the movies have shown that Sonic and his friends have Chaos Energy in their quills. The books go a little bit further with this idea, but it seems like in the movie, Shadow's Chaos Control power will be ingrained in him. There's a brief shot in here of Sonic investigating, and I think that at this moment, Sonic is looking for Eggman, who we see later in the trailer. Seeing how Eggman has let himself go, I think that Sonic is looking at one of his hideouts just based on all the dirty plates and pizza boxes laying around. We then see a flashback of Shadow's story, and we get our first look at Maria Robotnik. The narration relates Shadow's backstory to Sonic's, however, stating that where Sonic was able to find friends in his journeys, Shadow has only found pain and loss, and we get a shot of soldiers closing in on Gerald and Shadow as they hold Maria in their arms as she dies. There's a lot here going on with Gerald Robotnik, but we'll get into that a bit later. In the Gun helicopter from earlier, our heroes spot a giant explosion in Tokyo and head down ready to face the new threat. And for the first time, Team Sonic comes face to face with Shadow. I'm so ready for the comedy in this movie too, because Knuckles cracks a joke about Shadow being more impressive than the last hedgehog he fought, all while standing right next to Sonic. Sonic tries to reason with Shadow, but Knuckles jumps the gun, attacking him head on. Using his Chaos Control ability, the other three stand no match against Shadow as he easily dispatches them one by one. I think it's interesting how Shadow's able to do this as well. He takes out Knuckles' fist, he throws Sonic up into the air so he can't use his speed, and he takes out the support rather quickly. Then we get this shot of a huge base coming out of the water, and this looks again to be London. So I'm thinking that this might be where Eggman has been hiding away, as later in the trailer we see Agent Stone and a crab meat mech right next to a pier meeting with Sonic and his friends. Hopefully it's explained how Eggman was able to get here after his defeat in Sonic 2. What I'm guessing right now is that Eggman had a base under there for a long time, and perhaps he was able to use a ring portal to save himself when he was falling. There's then more footage of Shadow fighting the Gun soldiers and running on top of the water to escape the prison facility that he was being held in. If we look closely at Tom in this frame, we can see that he has a Gun badge on him, so either Tom decides to join Gun or they infiltrate Gun later on in the film. A quick scene flashes by where some sort of black hole or chaos energy rift is being opened, and Sonic and his friends are chained up right next to it. Based on the structure of the building and the trees inside it, I think that they might be inside the space colony Ark at this point. After being beaten by Shadow, Sonic and his friends seek out Eggman, who, like I mentioned, seems to have been hiding in an underwater base since his last defeat. But interestingly enough, we see that Agent Stone has arrived at this location on a motorcycle. I think that this might be the same one that Shadow rides later, which isn't good news for Stone. Finally, we get the reveal of the fat and disheveled Eggman who agrees to help Sonic and his friends, given one condition. This leads to Sonic giving Eggman one of his quills, and I believe that this will lead to the secret creation of Metal Sonic. With this being the conclusion to the Sonic trilogy, but not quite the end of the Sonic movies, it's likely the last time that we'll see Robotnik. However, even though Robotnik is working with Sonic and his friends this time around, we know that he hates them, and he always has a plan in his back pocket. It might end up being a post-credit scene, but I do believe that Metal Sonic will be created as a result of Sonic giving Eggman a quill. After prepping with Stone, Eggman is ready for action. It's always a treat seeing Sonic and Eggman work together, even if it's brief. To close out the trailer, there's some fun action shots, one of which shows Tails flying away from something in the background. You can sort of make out a mustache on it, and I think that this is either the Death Egg or the Space Colony Arc. There's also a very fast shot that flashes by where missiles are being launched at Sonic and his friends as they're at what appears to be a Chow Garden restaurant, which seems like it's gonna be a really fun scene. We even get to see a Knight's Chow in this shot here when the missiles land. Hopefully we end up getting some Chow merch for this movie, maybe like a popcorn bucket or something. I would love that. The big reveal at the end of the trailer shows us that Gerald Robotnik is still alive after all these years and reveals himself to Eggman. It's possible that Gerald is the one who organized Shadow's release, as he still is probably bitter about the death of Maria. There's a ton in this trailer, but it still leaves so much to be a mystery. This movie looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think it's going to be the best Sonic movie yet. This trailer might have actually exceeded my expectations. Expect a lot more from this channel in the coming weeks, so make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments what has you most excited about this movie. As always, I wish you all the best, take care, peace.